would be a ludicrous, outrageous, and implausible coincidence if the range of sensory data that we had the instruments to detect was the entirety of the total range. And that is the assumption of rationalism. That which we can measure is that which there is. And that's mental. That's like saying, that's like what a child would believe, like, you know, when they do that test, when they show them what's in the doll's house, but what can the teddy that's outside the doll house see? They just think that the teddy can see the same thing they can see, you know?
And don't forget, they irrelevantize the whatever you want to kind of scope the human body is. So any kind of intuitive sense of anything, any kind of dream state or any kind of anything, this is just, no, we don't use that to measure things. That's bullshit. That's superstition. That is not accurate. Your gauge is off. And so you get this, you know, in the UFO community, I love the term, they call it swamp gassing, which is like the version of gaslighting, but for UFO people, which is like, you just saw swamp gas, you didn't see anything, you're just out of your mind. That was just some bubble of swamp gas that was traveling faster than the speed of sound and immediately stopped and went into the ocean. It was doing radar jamming. It was swamp gas, or the radar was malfunctioning, and whatever you experienced in the presence of that thing and all the visions you had, and then the way they sent you messages telepathically, come on, you might be schizophrenic or something. This is called swamp gassing. So in secularism, what can end up happening is a kind of like human swamp gassing, which is like, you know, regardless of the entirety of over half of the species of the human biome reports encounters with deities, angels, intuition, moments of telepathy, clairvoyance, not getting on the airplane out of some weird sense that you shouldn't get on the airplane, all of these things, many of them documented at all. It's just, it's too random. It's not, ultimately, I think it's because maybe there's some acceptance that there might be something there, but it's like, we can't use it. We can't use it. And if we can't use it, then it can't be marketed. We can't sell it. And then at that point, who gives a fuck? Why waste your time with that hippie woo-woo bullshit? So it gets swept off the table. And then sadly, because of what can accidentally happen is because people who seem like authorities on things are telling you that's not real. You didn't experience a dream in which you met with your deceased relative. That was just your subconscious bubbling up. It's like bad gas from grief. It's like your brain farting out a very sweet dream where you felt like you were in the presence of a loved one or whatever the particular paranormal experience is. It's very sad. And because you believe that, then you cut yourself off from the possibility of experiencing it. And so, you know, it's a priest class. It's a weird new priest class. And I think what's so dangerous about it, them, and by them I mean the people who are what are known as antinatalists. You think of that shit. Antinatalists, there's people out there who think that you shouldn't have babies. There are people out there who will shame you for having children. Like, you shouldn't give them back. There is negative population growth right now. And there are people who are saying, stop having kids. Like, this is going to implode civilization at some point. And all of this, I think, is connected to a little bit of confusion, a disconnect from the heart. Because what brings you more into the heart than, you know, being around children? What brings you, because they're fully in their heart. You know, it's, anyway, look, I don't know where I'm going with this, but I'm glad to hear that you landed in the heart space again for a moment. But what I do have to point this out. In Bhakti Yoga, there are various ways of connecting with the divine. And one of the most profound and holy ways is not direct connection, but pining after God. That in fact, that is considered a connection with God. And this is where the term, the longing is the grace, comes from. That thing that you think is disconnect, that feeling of wanting it, and needing it, and you want it. This is like in Bhakti Yoga, this is an encounter with the divine. The longing is the divine. The longing for it is it wrapped up in the longing is the experience of the thing itself. And that's sad. Oh God, there's like literally an entire genre of devotional Hare Krishna songs, which are just about how much they miss Krishna, how much they want to see God, and like love songs, but for God. So congratulations, even if you're not in the heart space and you're just mourning some sense of disconnect, that is the connection. No way out. You're too far in. You can't get out. Maybe you're trying to trick yourself into thinking there's some way to get out of the situation you find yourself in. Once you go into the rabbit hole, you got to keep going to the other side.
It was amazing, Duncan. Thank you for doing it. You did me a great service there. That was oracular. That was bright light. You really woke me up. You've connected me. Thank you. Thank you,
You brought it out of me. I don't do this. I can't do this by myself. So thank you, Russell. I don't know what kind of crazy city you have there, but every time we talk, I feel like I go into some weird dreamy state and then it's over. But during the conversation, I always think, I wish we could talk for like 10 hours, 100 hours together. So thank you. You're an incredible interviewer, and I really love what you're doing right now. It's really wonderful and quite brave. So thanks for having me on your show.
And you brought me back on track. I was thinking about one thing that Vandana Shiva says, that that the earth is being desacralized. We're losing our sacred connection, our connection to the sacred. When things are demystified, overly rationalized, everything becomes measurable, everything becomes data. The inevitable conclusion is that you are an individual and you're going to die and there's nothing else, so you might as well pursue profit. And it's a deep, deep ideology. And like you said, all of the mystical data that is dispatched because it's random and it can't be quantified or utilized or ultimately garnered towards profit. This is the area where we must dwell, and at least now we know well what our part of our mission must be, is to convey this love, to feel this love, to speak from that place of love, which you've done so elegantly today, Duncan. You're such a beautiful man. Your children are lucky to have you as a father. Your mother is lucky to have you as a son. And it's fantastic to have you on the show. Thank you. Thank you.